Hello, everyone. Just setting things up. This is my first ever live stream, so I want to make sure that everything's working right. Let's see, I'm checking the YouTube stream. It looks like we're live on YouTube. We are on Algora. I think we're on Twitch as well. We should be on Twitch. Not checking that. We have some people here. Camille. Hey, hello. Samuel. Yeah, this is exciting. Okay, cool. Dimitri's here. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, so this is my first ever live stream. We kind of started this last week. Some of you might have seen my co-founder David. David's here. Servus. Servus. This is the Austrian way of greeting each other. So you say Servus. I'm not Austrian, I'm English, but I'm learning the language. It's only taken me 10 years to get this far. Yeah, so David started live streaming last week. He had the idea of building a pretty ambitious little project, which was like an Uber Eats clone on top of Vendure, and he got kind of he got a big chunk of it done, but he didn't quite finish. We wanted to finish it off tomorrow, but then things came up, so we're going to postpone that. But I thought, like people seem to really like the live streaming, so let's do something at least. And this is my first solo live stream. So what I thought I'll do this time is just give you a bit of an insight into actually how does Vendure get built? Because you probably interact with the team, with myself and the other Vendure developers and community on Discord, maybe on GitHub, opening issues and so on. But you never really get an insight into like, how is Vendure actually built? So I want to show you that today. And we've got an hour booked in. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to take up some issues. I'm going to actually work on some stuff for the next patch release of Vendure. And let's see how it goes. I'll try and share my thoughts, share my, whole approach. You can see how I try and solve these problems and hopefully get something out of it. We've got the chat going here, so feel free to give me feedback, ask questions. I'll check this and I will answer as much as I can, okay? So let's see. All right, we've got 9 or 10 people watching. So hey, let's get into it. So let me share my screen now. Let's do it this way. Okay, so here's how I'm going to start. Where it all starts is GitHub, right? So I wake up in the morning, I sit down, I drink my coffee, I go onto my notifications, and I see this like huge backlog of things that need doing. Anyway, don't want to look at that any longer, but we have a system where we categorize these and we put them into these different categories in this project Vendure roadmap. And I'm going to start from here. I've actually looked through this a little bit earlier on, and I picked out a few issues that might be interesting. The camera quality is blocky, Samuel says. Okay, it might be my connection. Like where I live, we don't have like a physical internet connection. We don't have fiber or anything, so it's like a cellular connection. It's kind of primitive, I know. So apologies if the connection's blocky. Someone might be watching Netflix in the next room as well. I don't know. Okay, the stream's clear other than that. Camera's weird. Okay, you think the mic is not the one I use for videos. Okay, let me check the settings. This is what we expect, right, on the first ever stream. Mic. Oh, yeah. You see, I've got this fancy microphone in front of me, and I was actually using the microphone from the stream, from the camera. How is this? Is this better? Let me know if the audio is improved now, at least. I don't know if I can do anything about the blocky camera. Much better. Good. Sounds okay now. Good. So yeah, sorry about the camera. It's just my face anyway. It's not the important part. So let's have a look at some issues. So I picked out a few that I thought might be good targets for maybe, yeah, huge difference. Yeah, the mic's better, right? Good. I paid good money for this microphone, so I'm glad I'm actually using it now.
yeah, I picked out a few issues. Let's look through them and then we can decide what we're going to work on. So first one, this comes from March the 23rd, 2023. It's pretty old. It says active order returns null when combined with other queries. So this is says when requesting multiple queries from the server, one of which is active order, the active order returns null. And then there is reproduction steps. Make sure you have an active order and then run this query, boom. And then the active order, which shouldn't be null, will apparently come back null. That's an interesting one. Totally weird. But here's what's interesting here is this is from Vendure version 1.9.3, which is a really old version. Who knows if it's still like active in the current like version we're on 3.0.3. We can quickly check into that. And then someone says, hey, Michael, can I be assigned to this issue? And I was like, sure. So I assigned that person to the issue, but then nothing ever happened. Oh, well. So that's one option. So we've got another issue here, new product error, invalid syntax for type UUID create. And the gist of this is if you are using the UUID strategy for your primary keys, because you can have auto increments or you can use UUIDs. So in the case you're using UUIDs, an error message is coming up when you try and create a new product. And I believe it says go to products in the back office. So they're talking about the admin UI. And when you try and create a new product, you're getting an error. And this is coming from version 2.2.6, which is fairly recent. So actually, the issue is only 2 weeks old. So that should be something we can reproduce. It sounds a bit more complicated. And then we've got another one, which is talking about assets. And this is like if you know the asset server, the asset server plugin, we have this system of allowing you to dynamically set different properties of the image. Like you can set the width and the height, the format, the cropping mode and stuff. And you can do that just by dynamic query parameters. And this is a bit of an issue, which this user has pointed out, where basically someone could like flood you with requests for different sizes, and that would produce lots of work for your server. And also it caches all these images that get produced at these different like resolutions, and that could like fill up your disk space. So that's something that needs to be handled. It's more like I don't know, the fix to that is a bit more involved. So what I think I will start with is this active order returns null. First thing I want to know is this still a current issue? So first thing I got to do is try and reproduce it. So let me show you my setup for local development. I have Docker desktop. I'm working on Windows, you might have noticed. Some people get surprised by that, but I use Windows. What can I say? Sorry. I'm going to fire up MariaDB. You can see here, I've got like a Docker compose file, and it's got lots of different kinds of databases because Vendure is working with MariaDB, MySQL, Postgres, and so on, different versions, so I can test against different types of database. But right now, we'll just work with MariaDB. Right. We've got some more feedback here. Julian talking about the bitrate of the stream. It's blurry and pixely. Yeah, I know. I think it might be my home connection. Next time I stream, maybe I'll stream from the office, and we've got a way better internet connection there. So as I said to the others, Julian, you just got to deal with not being able to see my face very clearly. I'm sure you can handle that for an hour. But apologies. So we've got MariaDB running. I'm going to jump over into my IDE, which is WebStorm. And yeah, first step is to try and reproduce it. So what I will do is I will change into the packages dev server. And that is, let me just show you here. I'll give you a little tour of the repo. So this is the Vendure mono repo. It contains the core, the admin UI, and a bunch of the core plugins. And they're all contained in these packages. We're using NPM workspaces, and we use Learner to manage the releases and the versioning. So amongst all these packages, which you'll probably recognize some of those, we have one which is not actually something that we put onto npm. It's called dev server, and this is the server I use when developing features. All right, we've got a comment here. Can we try and disable the face? It may help. Okay, let's disable the face. There, it's gone. It's gone. Tell me how that is. Actually, I've got a little warning coming up on StreamYard saying connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging in the router or moving closer to it. Afraid I can't do that right now. I'll see what I can figure out for next time. Yeah, but I've got like 1 bar out of 3, so that's probably what we're running into. So apologies again for that. Anyway, so I'm into the dev server. I'm going to do npm run start, and we'll fire up the dev server. And while that's firing up, I'll switch over into the API client that I like to use for making GraphQL requests, and that is called Yak. And this is like if you've used Postman or Insomnia, it's basically the same idea. It's created by the same guy who originally authored Insomnia, and then Insomnia got bought and it went really bad. Yeah, he then went on to create Yak, which is very nice to use. So we've got a comment here. You can barely see the text. Maybe try increasing the font size. WebStorm has presentation mode. Okay, good. Thank you for the feedback. Let me see what I can do. Can I increase the font size here? Let me see. Settings. I think I can change the font size. Appearance, editor font size. All right, I can make that bigger for a start. Yeah, Julian's saying like, oh my God, an API client that isn't cluttered. You definitely need to try it. It's really nice, right? You don't need to sign in. There's no like account that you need to sync with. It's like, yeah, it's really, really stripped back, but very practical. And yeah, highly recommended. It's good. It's also, for those who are interested, it's written on top of Tori. So it's really, really lightweight, like in terms of the actual executable size. Doesn't take up much space at all. All right. So I hope you can see that a bit better. At least the parts in the middle. The left-hand bar is probably still a bit small. But I will go to, first of all, let's check the active order. And we've not got an active order. So the way we can make an active order is I'll just add an item to the order. Like that. And then we go back to active order. And we have an active order. Good. Okay, I've got feedback that it's now readable, so that's good. I've probably got a fluctuating connection, so you might see that it goes better and worse. So we've got an active order, so let's just jump back over to reproduction. And I can tell you, I really love when an issue is opened and it has a steps to reproduce that I can just copy and paste. You don't believe how much easier that makes my life. So if you're gonna open issue, just like do your best to put steps that are like just copy pastable. This is really helpful. So I'm now gonna literally copy paste that, and I'm gonna go. Let's just go to let's see, Scratch Shop API Scratch. This Scratch one is that I use for just like pasting different stuff, whatever I'm working on at the time. So let's run it. Okay, so we actually do have an active order. So it could be that this just is not an issue anymore. So let's just select a few more things. Ah, look at that. It's now null. Okay. Now I'm going to comment those out and let's fire that request again. Now it's null. So that was very interesting. So there's a bit more to it than what was given in the reproduction steps. So now I'll try and just request active order on its own, and we get it. And now let's go back to that Scratch file and request it with the active channel, and it's null. Okay, if I comment out this active channel, then it's not null. Okay, good. And now I'm kind of just testing, poking around, testing out, getting a feel for the problem and see if we can kind of reduce the possibility of what could be going wrong here. But it's definitely reproducible, which is really good. When someone opens an issue and I can't reproduce it, then we're kind of stuck, because if I can't reproduce it, I just can't fix it. There's no way to kind of go about fixing that in an efficient way. But this is really good that we can reproduce it. My next question that I'm thinking is, can we reproduce this with like any other kind of extra query that we add in here? So let's just say product, and we'll get the product with the ID 1, and we'll just get the ID. So try that. Now active order is working. Okay, I'll just fire it again, and now it's null. Okay, so that is really interesting and weird. Now I comment that out, and the active order works, and I put it back in. Active order is null. So what I noticed there is when I added a new query that I hadn't had before, the active order the first time was not null. Okay, we've got a question here. Can I download all those queries exported from Insomnia from somewhere? Yeah, this has been asked a few times. So like in Postman, for example, you've got Postman collections. And people kind of want to have all these, like I've got all these like ready-made queries and mutations that I use during development. Can you download them? No, you can't download them from anywhere at the moment that I know about. At least I've not shared them anywhere. I don't know what's a good format to share these. I mean, I could literally just like put some gists somewhere, or maybe we could put them in the docs. Let me know what's useful. But yeah, like totally willing to share these. It does definitely save time. It's nice to have them all like organized. So yeah, open to collaborate and work together on that, and like put them somewhere that's useful for everyone. Good question. Thanks. Okay. So like so I'm developing a thesis here, and my thesis is that if I were to now ask for a different query, for example, a facet, ID 1, and just get the ID. So I'm thinking now that active order should come back like correctly, because it's the first time I'm asking for this facet query at the same time. And it does. And now I'm thinking, if I ask for it again, active order is going to be null. And it is good. So I think we've now kind of explored a bit further on the actual reproduction, and we've uncovered some more like weirdness that we didn't know before, which is that it kind of will work the first time and then it'll stop working. And then no matter how many times I ask for it again, it won't work. And even if I comment out that one and it's working, and then I uncomment it, hey, now it works, and now it doesn't work. So it's even it feels a bit like non-deterministic in that regard, which scares me, because when you there we go again. When you get kind of like non-deterministic, unpredictable behavior, you're getting into the territory of things like race conditions, which are like they're basically the worst things to try and debug and solve. But good. So yeah, just as a test, how do I look? How's my face? Is it still blocky? Just let me know in the chat. Samuel says, what if you switch it around, the active order on the bottom? That's a really great point. Let's try it. So active order on the bottom, it works. Oh, Samuel, you genius. Oh my God. You're hired. You got to join me on every live stream now. You're going to be like helping me out with these kind of questions. So that is really interesting. So, okay. Do you have like still blocky? Okay, good. I'm going to go away then. Samuel, why did you ask me that? Have you got some kind of idea about what's going on here? Just drop your comments in the chat. You can save us all some time. But in the meantime, while Samuel's thinking about that, what do we do next? So at this point, then I'm going to start thinking, well, we can kind of reproduce it. It feels like we've delineated the behavior. So now it's time to look at what's happening at on the execution level. So let's do that. I'm going to stop the dev server running, and we're going to now do some debugging. So let's find where this would be. So I'm going to go into the core package now because we're dealing with the API as part of the Vendure core package. Into the source directory. Oh, let's put presentation mode on. Hold on, because I know this is small. Presentation mode, enter presentation mode. Good. How can I get the folder project folders? No, I want to kind of show you the file tree. File tree. No, I don't know. Okay, Samuel has got some feedback for me. I'm just thinking maybe it's due to caching. Yeah, I was thinking maybe something with caching. Yeah, we'll have to see what we can find. Okay, so anyway, we were going to go into the resolver layer. So we have I think it's shop order resolver is the file which will service that particular query. And that's here. And we see our resolver methods here. Active order is right here. So let's put a breakpoint right there. I'm going to select debug server. So, oh, this is maybe of interest. So like, let me show you how this is configured. For those who are using WebStorm, it's a node kind of debug config. We directly executing the TypeScript file, so you don't need to like kind of compile the code first to debug it, but you can pass this require parameter, which will do kind of on the fly transpilation in the node process. So that's the way I have the debugging set up. More from Samuel. I'm listening. Would be interesting if we have multiple, more than two. Wondering if only the last one won't be null. So do you mean, hold on. Okay, so we've got this. Let me, where's the prettify button? I want to prettify it. Yeah. Oh, it deleted all of the, let's undo that. Okay. Oh, we've not got the server running. Let's just check that out quickly. Let's run the dev server. So are you saying if we have, yeah, if we uncomment this one, wondering if only the last one won't be null. Like if we have multiple like that. Let's see if the dev server is running. Okay, we're good. Okay, that's okay. Okay, so this is working every time. And now let's comment out the product one. And now it's just working. Oh yeah, because we had it that way around, wasn't it? So yeah. I get the point. Okay. So let's put this back at the top. Now it's null. Okay, let's put it in the middle. Now it's null. And it's at the bottom, it's not null. Ridiculous. What a ridiculous bug. Okay. Anyway, now we're going to jump in and just have a look at what's happening. So terminate that job. And let's run the debug server. And then I get the debug window right over here. One thing to note is everything seems to run a bit slower on my laptop when I'm streaming. So yeah, sometimes we've got a bit of downtime while everything's attaching, especially when we're running debug mode, it's just slower. But here we go. I think we're good. So we have our breakpoint. Click it again. We got the little check mark here, which means it is going to stop. Now let's go over here and right. First of all, let's put this back to the top. Let's do the simplest case where we're just having the active order and one facet. Okay, so we dropped into here. As expected, we step down there. So this is now going to fetch the active order. So we expect it to come up with an order, which it is. And then it basically returns it. So then it's dropping into the order service. Let's step into that. Order service find one. Oh, we've got a Twitch someone watching on Twitch, PeachFib, hello. Nice to have you. We've got 16 people watching now. This is cool. Right, so we dropped into the order service, find one. We're going to do a query to the database. We're going to add some relations, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. I just want to know what's going on. What's going on? Why did we stop here? That's confusing. I'm going to set a breakpoint right here. Good. And let's see, the order is defined. So that's good. And I expect this will come back not null. So let's go back over to Yak. Handshake inactivity timeout. All right, stupid. But the active order did actually come back. I guess someone got upset that we were taking so long as we were stepping through the code. But that worked. I'm going to do it again now. Session order, that's coming through non-null. I'm going to just play it now. Play it. Let's go. That worked. Okay. Let's do it again. I'm just going to let it run. Oh, what happened? Now it's null. Okay, good. Let's do it again. Now this, what? Oh, did we just drop through right to there? Facet was null though. Yeah. Okay. I think that might have because something timed out though. I think that's why. Sorry, I'm talking to myself here, but Dimitri says facet was null in that last query. Possibly that was because something timed out. But now what happened? I'm going to set a breakpoint here actually. Let's take that one away because we should always get to here. We should always get there. Let's jump over to Yak again. Run it. Good. Okay, I'm going to remove that one for now. That worked. That's null. That's null. All right, good. So look at this. I can click. It's reliably reproducing null. Now let's go back. And this breakpoint wasn't being hit. Now that's really interesting. Okay. So what I will do is I'll just stick a debugger statement in there. And one thing I need to do is, let me see, where's the npm scripts? I need to switch on this command. So because I made a change to the core, I've got to like have it building in watch mode. Otherwise, we won't be working with the updated code. So that's that. Good. This can go away. Okay, so we've got this debugger statement here. This is going to trigger when this is false, falsy. Context authorized as owner only. Now you might be wondering, what does that property even mean? I don't want to explain it. It's too complicated, but we'll see. If I've got to go into it, we'll go into it. We've got a comment here from Kevin. Nice to see you here, by the way, Kevin. Thanks for joining. Has something calming it? What? Okay. Well, thank you. That's a compliment. My voice is calming, apparently. I'm glad to hear it. It's my impeccable English accent, I guess. Right. So let's because I've changed the code now. We're gonna restart this debug server. And see what's going on here. So we're either going to stop on this breakpoint right here on line 107, or we're going to hit this debugger statement, and then we're going to just like dig in and see what's going on, because I feel like we're getting closer. Jamie, welcome. Nice to see you here. Would sound better as Geordie. That's debatable. But, you know, if we're talking English regional accents, I've got to say, after living in over 10 years in Austria, my Northwest Boltonian / Mancunian accent has mellowed a lot. So that's probably for everyone's benefit. I could go full on Boltonian, but I'm not going to do it because this is an international audience and I want people to follow what I'm saying. We're starting a trend here. I think I should get into like those ASMR videos, and I'm just like talking about debugging things, and you can just like do your whatever daily tasks and just listen to me talking about resolvers and breakpoints and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I might start charging for that. OnlyFans. Tell me if there's a market for it. Anyway, we should be running our. Let's see. Is it running? Is it up and running? God, it's some little real estate here on my screen, but we're running. Okay, so let's go to Yak again and let's make a request. Boom. Okay, that one worked. So then we do it again and nothing, just nothing's happening. Oh, we're in the debugger, that's why. Aha, good, we're getting somewhere. So let's look at this request context object. Authorized as owner only is false. So we do have to get into what does this property actually mean? Kevin's saying, damn, I hope for me everything will go smooth. First time using Learner in this monorepo setup. Okay. Yeah, actually, Learner's a pretty simple tool. It's just a really thin layer on top of whatever workspace is using, like npm or whatever. I never have trouble with Learner. It's easy. Some other monorepo tooling sometimes gives you more grief than Learner. I'll put it that way. Okay. Yeah. So this authorizes owner only. Let's have a look at this. What is it? It's a getter. It's returning this private property authorized as owner only. Where is this being set and why? It's being set here in the constructor. It gets passed in as an option into the constructor. So we've got to go and look at where we're newing up one of these. And that will happen in request context service. It's happening a few times. Let's look here. Create. And I think in this case, on this code path, it will be from this from request. And just to give you even more context, let's go into the auth guard. So whenever you send a request to Vendure, to the API, you will go through this auth guard. And this is how we implement the permission system. And it's how we make sure that you have the right permissions to view and kind of execute whatever resource you're trying to do based on the allow decorator. And so all requests pass through this and they go through this can activate function. This is just part of the standard Nest.js API. We just like to build on top of what Nest provides because Nest provides a lot. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel in a lot of these cases, which is great. Anyway, we come through this can activate function. We are then at some point, right here, line 60, we're going to create the request context, which is calling request context service from request. And at this point, we are setting this authorized as owner only. And this seems to be, for some reason, getting set to false when we are expecting it to be true, but only in some cases. So why is this set? It's set when both these conditions are true. Not is authorized and has owner permission. Okay. So what does this actually mean? Is authorized is the result of evaluating user has required permissions on channel. So what we're doing here, we're looking at the user object, which is kind of cached. We cache the user in a session cache because we don't want to look it up in the database every single request. So that's just a little optimization we have. So we have this cached user and it has this channel permissions property, which is like an array of objects showing like what channel you have what permissions on. Permissions are basically just strings. So it's an array of strings. Okay. And then we're also passing in the permissions required for the particular query or mutation that you're trying to execute at this time. And if the permissions that this user has on the current channel intersect with the permissions required by this query or mutation, we return true. Okay. And that means you're then authorized. Is authorized would then be true. If you're not authorized, but you have an owner permission, or not you have an owner permission, but the query or mutation is decorated with this owner permission, then this will be true. And then as a result, authorized as owner only is true. Okay, this seems really complicated. And to be honest, it is too complicated and it's kind of hard to understand. Let's look at git blame. Who wrote this awful code? No, not again. But this was in 2018. So that was 6 years ago. Maybe I will do things better if I wrote this again. Maybe this is an area we've got to revisit. And look at how we can simplify that whole system in a future version. But anyway, we're going to leave things as they are. We've got a comment here. Dimitri, should it be is authorized? You're going to have to specify a bit more, like what should what be is authorized. Noah, hi. I'm waving at you, but then I realized that my picture is not even on the screen. It's probably still blocky, but here's a blocky wave for you, Noah. Nice to see you here. Yeah, so this is like the problem. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to set a breakpoint right here, and we're going to make another request. This is still going. Oh yeah, I'm still running, right? So I'm going to finish that request, and let's make a new one. So because you have permissions when you are authorized, should it be it is authorized because you have permissions when you are authorized? Yeah. So yeah, good point. So let's go over to the resolver quickly, shop order resolver, and let's look at what permissions are actually required for this active order resolver. And you see that it has permission owner. Now, permission owner is a kind of, it's almost like a pseudo permission. It's not a real permission. You can't assign it to a role, right? If you go in your roles editor in the admin UI and try and look for this, you won't find it because it's not assignable. It's a special case permission, which is basically a bit confusing, but it means that when something is decorated with permission owner, it will, number one, it will make Vendure create a session based on this request if there isn't one already. And number two, it indicates to me as the author of this resolver that I need to have business logic to make sure that the person actually owns the resource that they're asking for. Because like the concept of ownership is not something that is kind of statically knowable. We can't encode it into the type system. It depends on, you know, on the particular resolver and the particular kind of information they're asking for. So yeah, that's why we have it that way. So you are super user if you are an owner. You're not. If you mean super user there, yeah, you do mean super user. You're not a super user. You are just actually on the pure like permission side. What does permission owner give you? It's the same as public. It gives you no permissions, no particular permissions, but it's more like a signal to implement some kind of controls here in the business logic to make sure that you're not giving this information to someone who is not the logical owner of the particular resource. Okay. Yeah, it's confusing, I know. Hopefully you could follow that a little bit. But we've got a problem. So let's jump back over to, what was it? It was the request context service right here. So we've got a breakpoint. How long? Oh, wow. We've done almost 40 minutes. Right, let's run it. Here we are. So it is authorized. We should expect this to be false. And it is. All right. Authorized as owner only. Is authorized false? Yeah. Has owner permission. It's true. Right. So this is actually now coming as true. Is authorized. So this should work. Yeah. And it good. It goes on the happy path. Okay. Okay. Hey, why does it come here again? Oh, this is for the facet. Okay, that's expected. Good. Let's run the query again. I'm going to actually just set the breakpoint here. And now we have authorizes owner only. Again, it's true, so not useful. Oh, I missed it. I missed it. That was the second one, though, that came through. Right, let's run it again. We've got a comment here. Would be awesome if we could define owner strategies to check ownership for entities. Yeah, it would be awesome. Yeah, I think there is definitely scope in the allow decorator to support more dynamic logic for ownership and permissions in general. That is something that we've been thinking about and I'm probably going to explore that at some point in the near future, because there is a lot of power that we can unlock and also simplify things like the mechanisms that we're looking at today, which are, as you can see, kind of prone to creating bugs. So yeah, definitely improvements possible. So back to the debugging. Authorized as owner only is true. And we can just look here. We can see what are we actually servicing here. The active order. So we can see that in the info, the GraphQL info object, active order. So this is going to go the happy path. Okay. And then this is servicing the facet. And we don't care about that. So we'll play. Now let's try and get one where we're going to get null. So we're servicing active order is authorized as only. It's true again. So happy path. Okay. Don't. Oh, what? Why did it stop in the debugger? Whoa, something weird's happening. Okay. Again, it came through null. That was unexpected. Okay, we're servicing active order. Authorizes only, owner only is true. Now, facet. And now it's false. Okay. This is interesting. What is going on here? And now we're in the error state. That's really interesting. So when we got the error state, to recap, we in the let's jump back here. This request context service kind of serviced first. It serviced the active order query, and then it serviced the facet query in that sequence, and then we got into the error state. So I'm formulating a bit of an idea here. So now we're servicing facet first, right? Watch this. This is what I think is happening. And this is like a race condition, which is why it's non-deterministic. Here we're servicing facet first, and authorizes only, owner only is false because the facet query does not have this owner permission on it because it's just a general public API. Now we're servicing active order second, and then authorizes owner only gets set to true. So by the time it comes into our resolver here, it's true. So we go on the happy path. Now, in the case where it's erroring, it seems to be that the active order part of this query is getting serviced first, like this. So this is going to be, I predict this is going to go into the error state. That gets serviced first. Then it comes to facet. This gets set to false. Now we're going to go into the error state. Good. Okay, so definitely there seems to be part of this is a race condition. And what could be happening here is that this part of, oh, let me go back here. So this part where we're kind of setting up the request context seems to happen for both parts of the query, for the active order part and for the facet part. It happens up front. It seems like it's maybe mutating the same object, which is then influencing the resolver step, which is kind of weird. So let's go back to the auth guard. We have two calls here. We're doing once here. We were doing once here. But this is like assigning a new object, right? Because in here, we're literally returning a new instance. We're returning a new instance. So there's something about order of operations which is involved here. So let's jump back into our can activate. And so you've seen me use the debugger a bit. At this point now, I want to start console logging, the good old console log. Sometimes it's preferable to console log when you want to see order of operations over time. I will do that here. So what I want to log is, let's see, console log auth guard. And then we want to log request context authorizes owner only. Let's give that a label. And we also want to log. What do I want to? Oh yeah, I want to log like which query I'm servicing here. So that's in the info. So info. Where is it? I gotta kind of look in here. I'll inspect the request. We can see, where is that info? Oh my God, so big. No, it's not on there. Although I could look at the body. No, but that's too big. Do we have that GraphQL info object? Ah, it's right here. Oh yeah. So let's just have a look at what TypeScript says. Okay, I'll just log the path. Is that a string? No. Type name. Type name should do. Is that a string? Yeah, that's a string. Okay, let's log that. So let's restart the server. So what we've got 15 minutes. Let's see if we can solve this in 15 minutes. If not, then I will just carry on another time. And you'll see it in a release note one day, hopefully soon. But yeah, oh, I actually forcefully stopped that because we were in the middle of debugging. So let's rerun this, and I will actually turn off my breakpoints at the moment because I just want to see what gets logged. It'll be here in the process console. And we should, what I expect we'll see is like this sequence. Oh, I actually wanted to log something else as well. I wanted to log, let's go to the shop order resolver and put a log here, just that we're executing this resolver. And you know what we'll do? We'll go into the facet resolver. I think actually that would be in the shop catalog, shop product. Is it in here? Facet. Oops. Facets right here. Okay, let's put a log here as well. And just log facets. So we'll see like the sequence of execution for those. Now I've got to restart it again because I made those changes. So it seems to me like it's going to execute perhaps the auth guard twice before it executes any of these resolvers, which would go some way to explaining the behavior. I still don't quite get why it seems to be mutating something or there's something kind of shared, but let us see. Right, so that's running. Let's jump over to Yak. Let's make the call. That one worked. And in the happy path, let's see. So we've got auth guard. Query. That's not useful. That's not useful at all. I need to see what I'm supposed to log here. So I want to do some better logging, and that is. Now let's go over to the auth guard again. Let's just set a breakpoint here. Let's do it again. Try and get what's in the info. Info field name. So simple. Info.field name. Okay, that's a string. Good. Now. Okay. Switch off my breakpoints. Let's restart the server. Now, let's see if we get something useful here. Anyway, I hope my debugging process is somewhat useful to watch. I mean, debugging is something that we all have to do, and I've done a lot of debugging over the years, so I feel like I've developed some kind of instincts for like zoning in on problems pretty well, and kind of knowing what tool to use to handle which kind of situation. So let's run that. Happy path. Right, here we go. So auth guard for active order, followed by the active order resolver. Auth guard for the facet. Where's the facet resolver? Where's the facet resolver? That should be logged. Why? Let's see. So shop product resolver. Because I did it in the wrong place. Facets, but it should be facet. No one picked that one up. Video quality much better now. Good. Okay, the kids have stopped watching Netflix or downloading a new game to Xbox. All right, let's rerun that. We're getting closer. I can feel it. So servers Once server's up and running, we'll make a new request. I've got the breakpoint switched off so that we can just let it run all the way through. Happy path. Good. Happy path. We've got auth guard for active order, and then we've got the active order resolver. Then we've got the auth guard for the facet, and then we've got the facet resolver. That should be facet, but it doesn't matter. Right. Let's do it again. Error. Okay. What's the difference? Auth guard for active order, auth guard for facet. What? Why? Why is this not the same? Auth guard for facet. Oh man. Okay. Wow. So this is like kind of a deep issue. So this is getting into like, it's not even Vendure specific code. We're talking about how like GraphQL, we've got, so the moving parts we've got here are GraphQL at the very bottom of it all. We've got Apollo server, which is kind of doing stuff around the GraphQL library. We've got the Nest.js GraphQL integration. And then finally, we've got like the Vendure code that we have control over. And somewhere in all of that mix, we have a situation where like basically the order of operations is not the same each time. Let's just run this a few more times. Okay, now it worked. So we can definitely see the pattern. When it works, we're getting auth guard, resolver, auth guard, resolver. When it doesn't work, we're getting auth guard, resolver, resolver. And then now it's like just not working. And why? Now it's just not working. What would make it work? I mean, there's something. This is awful. I picked this issue thinking, it looks pretty simple. This should be kind of simple to solve. Yeah, I think David's hit the nail on the head here. Someone's just used math.random. Yeah, it seems like it sometimes. It's either that, or it's just like something with the CPU timing, or something awful to actually get to the bottom of. Does the execution order change? So, like what we can see here is, yeah, active order facets. So let's look at happy path. So happy path was like here, active order facets. That was happy path. Is it always active order first? Oh, it's so hard to. I need to clear this. How do I clear this? Oh, here, bin. Yeah, let's just look into that. Like, does the order of execution change? Let's do it again. Ha, it just randomly works. Okay. So we've got active order facets. It worked. I'm going to clear this in between so it's not ambiguous. Active order facet. So there on the error case, it also went active order facets. So let's see if that's the case every time. Yeah, active order facets. Yeah. So it seems like it's always executing active order before facet. It's just the order of execution of the guard and the resolver which is changing. Okay, more suggestions. Samuel, my savior, come on, what have you got for me? What if both API contains owner permission? I think what will happen is that I would predict that we would still have the same issue in terms of the order execution would be kind of changing up on us, but I think we wouldn't have a bug because basically this, I'm pointing at my screen here, I'm pointing at this false, it would be true in both cases. So there would still be a bug, but you just wouldn't see it. I think that's what would happen if we put owner permission on the facet resolver. Right. So yeah, it's always doing active order first. It's always doing facets after. What I do know about GraphQL, the GraphQL spec says that when you have multiple queries in one document, so just terminology wise, this is a document in GraphQL. A document, queries, mutations, subscriptions are all documents. So you can have multiple like individual queries, which are actually just fields on the top level query type. Is the technical way of looking at it. So you can have multiple top level queries. The GraphQL spec says that the order of execution of these I believe it's not defined, and I believe these will execute in parallel. The difference between, in fact, the only real difference between a query and a mutation in GraphQL is that if I would make a mutation, then each one of these, if they were mutations, each one of these mutations would be executed in series. And literally, that is the fundamental difference between what is a query and what's a mutation in GraphQL. Obviously, there are also difference in what they're supposed to be used for, but in pure like what you can do with it, there's nothing stopping you in a query from like changing data in the database or whatever. And a mutation also doesn't have to change state or change the database or whatever. So literally, the actual technical difference between query and mutation is mutations are executed in series and queries are executed in parallel. And that might be part of what we're running into. More comments. Every time that it works is after a long pause. Some cache expires that makes requests slower. Difference in behavior. Possibly. It could be. We do have, yeah, that's actually an interesting point. So let's just go to the auth guard and have a look through this code path, because there is a cache involved here. You are totally right. This is a good line of investigation right here where we get the session. We've got this get session method, and we are getting, first we extract the session token from either the headers or from the cookie. And then we have this get session from token from the session service, which is going to the session cache somewhere. Find session by token. Oh, that's when it's not going to the cache. So yeah, this is where it's going to the session cache. So we're either going to go to the cache, or we're going to, if the cache is expired, we're going to go to the database. But in our case, I mean, the session cache is, I think, is fairly long-lived. Let's just check it. What's the default session cache strategy? I think by default we're using in memory. That is docs. I don't want docs. I want the TS file in memory. Session cache strategy, cache size. We've not even got like a TTL on this. We've not got it's not going stale. It's just got a size. It's like a bounded cache, which will then start evicting the last entries, I guess. Yeah, but that's a totally possibility. And look, right, we are getting to the end of my time here. So it looks like we're not going to solve this during this session. But we are we're definitely getting closer. It's a really interesting one, actually. This it's a fascinating one. I think I'm going to have to go a bit deeper and probably get into some library code to actually resolve this. But that's it. That's all I got time for now. It's coming up to 5 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. If anyone's got any quick questions, then go ahead, ask. If you got some suggestions for things you would like to see in future live streams. As I mentioned at the start, we have this ongoing project that David started last week with the Uber Eats clone, which we will hopefully get back to next week. Other than that, we've decided we're going to make a thing of live streaming more, because number one, it's fun. Number two, it gives us a chance to connect with our community better and also get feedback and also just share our practices and knowledge. There's lots of stuff that's right here in my head that I would like to share better. It's not always stuff for docs, but this is a medium we can use. Samuel, yeah, I'm definitely going to let you know what the solution is. I'll put it in the Discord, and the next live stream I'll kind of revisit perhaps. New feature development. Yeah, maybe we'll do that next time. There is the feature the issue that I showed before. It's kind of a feature, the ability to control the caching of the images. Yeah, thank you. I'll leave it at that. If you got any more feedback, go in the Discord, and just in the general channel, you can make a thread. Tell me what you thought of the live stream, what stuff you would like to see next time, and any other feedback. But other than that, thank you very much. Over and out.